Okay, so let's jump right in and imagine, you're running procurement for a company. You just approve this purchase order. Everything seems like it's going smoothly.
Okay.
And then, the supplier calls.
Right.
They need to push back the delivery date.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this seems like a simple request on the surface.
Yeah.
But what happens when the system you're using to manage all of this locks critical fields after a purchase order's been approved?
That can be a problem.
Yeah, it can be a huge problem.
Yeah, you get into a logistical nightmare.
Holy.
You can't edit that date. You're stuck trying to find workarounds. It's just inefficient.
Really frustrating.
Yes.
And this is a situation that a software engineer named Mohammed Kaleem found himself in.
Okay.
Now, he specializes in Acumatica customizations, and he had firsthand experience with this problem.
So Kaleem realized that, Acumatica's default settings, they're there to maintain control, prevent unauthorized changes.
Right.
But sometimes they create these roadblocks.
Yeah.
Imagine a purchase order, it's still open, so it's not finalized.
Right.
But you can't make simple adjustments.
It's like you're locked out of your own system.
Exactly.
So how did he solve this?
Well, he used Acumatica's customization capabilities.
Okay.
It's like he found a secret passage in the system. He extended what's called the release order workflow.
Okay.
Now, that's just a set of rules that determine how a purchase order moves through the approval process.
So instead of overhauling the entire system, he just tweaked this one specific part.
Exactly. He created a custom set of rules.
Okay.
And what those did was they allowed certain fields, like the promise date or the quantity, to remain editable. Even after the purchase order was approved, as long as the order was still open.
So it's almost like a special key that unlocks these fields, but only under right circumstances.
That's a great way to put it.
That's really clever.
And to make sure everything works smoothly, he used something called event handlers.
Event handlers. Okay, now I know that sounds very technical.
It does.
What does that mean?
Think of them like traffic lights in your workflow.
Okay.
They control when certain actions can happen based on the status of the purchase order.
So in this case, the event handler is checking, is this purchase order open?
Yeah.
And if it is, then it unlocks these fields.
Exactly.
Okay, so it adapts to the situation.
That's a dynamic system.
Very cool.
If you control without sacrificing that flexibility.
I like it.
Yeah. And the result was that Kaleem's company could adjust these purchase orders without having to go back and reverse approvals.
Right.
Without creating a bunch more paperwork.
And so it just streamlined the whole process.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I am curious, did this customization require a lot of technical expertise?
Well, Kaleem definitely needed a good understanding of how Acumatica works, but that's part of what's so great about this platform. It's designed for customization.
Okay.
It gives you the tools to really tailor the system.
So it's not just having a tech whiz on staff, it's choosing the right system in the first place.
Absolutely. And it might make you think, well, what about other areas where my system's kind of rigid?
Right. Could this work there too?
And the answer is it might.
Okay.
It's a way of thinking.
So it's more than just a one-off fix.
Yeah. It's looking at a problem, figuring out why it exists.
Yeah.
Like Kaleem saw that the default settings were creating a bottleneck.
It's like the system was trying to help, but it was being a little overprotective.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
it's like an overprotective parent.
Exactly.
And you need that flexibility to adjust the level of protection.
What other processes could benefit from this kind of approach?
Yeah, think about that.
Makes me wonder, are we just accepting things because we think that's how they have to be?
It's like driving with the parking brake on.
Yeah.
You can move so much faster if you release that brake.
Right, so it's all about finding the right balance between that security and then also the flexibility.
Control and flexibility.
Now, let's be realistic. Not everyone has a Kaleem on their team.
Right.
What would you say to companies who don't have that kind of expertise in-house?
Well, that's where a company like Tiana Solutions can really come in.
Okay.
They help businesses use Acumatica to its full potential.
So they're like Acumatica experts.
Exactly. They can help you unlock these custom solutions.
It's like they're Acumatica whisperers.
Yeah, they've seen how these customizations can really transform a business, and they work collaboratively.
Yeah.
So they really get to know your company's needs.
So it's not just a service, it's more of a partnership.
That's the key.
Okay.
They help you take control of your systems.
So if our listeners are really interested in this and want to explore more, how can they connect with Tiana?
They can give them a call, 678-910-2774.
Okay, and we'll put that in the show notes too.
Yeah.
So this has been a really cool look at customization.
It has.
We saw a real-world problem. We saw this really clever solution.
Yeah.
And the potential is huge. It's all about thinking outside the box.
I think it reminds us that technology should enable us, not constrain us.
Absolutely. And we don't have to settle for limitations.
Yeah.
We can push for better solutions.
There's always room for improvement.
So what really stood out to you about how Kaleem approached this problem?
I think it's how he didn't just accept the limitations.
Right.
He saw a problem and immediately went to, how can I make this better?
Yeah.
That kind of thinking is really powerful.
Yeah, he turned frustration into innovation.
Exactly.
Instead of complaining, he took action.
Yeah, and made things better for everyone.
Yeah. And I think that's a big takeaway for our listeners.
Absolutely.
Don't be afraid to question how things are done.
Right. If you keep hitting roadblocks, maybe there's a way to customize, make things work better for you.
It's all about taking ownership.
Yeah.
Finding solutions.
And if you don't have that expertise yourself, there are resources out there like Tiana Solutions to help you.
They can guide you. So to wrap up, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from this?
I hope it's that they have more power than they realize. You don't have to settle for software that frustrates you.
Right.
With some creativity and the right support, you can customize things.
Yeah.
Make it work for you.
Absolutely.
And achieve a whole new level of efficiency.
It's a good reminder. Technology should help us, not hold us back.
Exactly.
So go explore those possibilities.
And don't be afraid to ask for help.
Great advice. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.